I made $51,000 in the month of August only using 2 indicators, and here are my payouts to prove it. I requested $4,500 on August 13th across my 6 accounts, 3 MyFunded Futures, 3 Alpha Futures accounts, and then I requested another $4,000 across those accounts on August 27th, generating me $51,000 straight to my bank account. And in this short 10-minute video, I'm going to give you the only 2 indicators that you need in order to make this kind of money from trading. And this is not going to be any RSI, MACD crossover indicator bullshit. This is really going to be all that you need in order to make this kind of money from trading. All right, now that you're on your TradingView platform, you're going to head over to the indicators tab right here at the top. Click on it. There's going to be different sections: personal, technicals, financials, community, and a bunch of honestly bullshit that you do not need. This is all unnecessary stuff. You do not need this to become a profitable trader. I'm going to show you literally the only 2 indicators that you need, especially if you're an ICT trader. This first one is extremely important, and it's called Equal Highs and Lows by J.Z. Stir. Okay, you're going to click on this one right here. It's got currently 424. So click on it, okay, and it should pop up right here. Okay, so what this is going to do is essentially mark out every single equal high and equal low in the market, even if they're spread apart like this. Now, this one single indicator has saved me from so many unnecessary losses in the market. It's actually insane. And it's also generated me so much money. And I know you might be asking yourself, Blake, why are equal highs and equal lows even important in the first place? Well, they are seen as draws on liquidity, okay? So a liquidity pool essentially means that there are stop losses resting there, right? And what the books teach people is that equal highs and equal lows are seen as areas of support. So as you can see here, we have this quote unquote support level, right? But this is going to be where all of the traders are going to be placing their stop losses. So when people are entering into their longs, right, they're placing their stop loss at this, which is seen as support, and there's going to be a lot of liquidity generated here. And what we can do as ICT traders is simply target this liquidity pool. So the same way this indicator makes me a lot of money, it again saves me from so many unnecessary losses. Because for example, right here, right, you can't really tell if we have equal highs. Let's say I'm trying to get into a short here and I don't want equal highs on my stop loss, right? Because that's a liquidity pool. That's where price wants to target, right? So I don't want that. But right here, I can't really tell. With this indicator, it shows the equal highs right here, right? So this is really good because again, let's say I want to get into my shorts and I didn't have this indicator on, okay? And I'm just looking and I get into my shorts around here, okay? Let's say this is my short. Let's say I put a stop loss here and a take profit, right? And what price ends up doing is we rip higher, taking out these stop losses, right? Taking out these equal highs, and this is now a stop raid, and now price is ready to then move into the trending direction towards your draw on liquidity. So this is why it's so freaking important to always wait for the equal highs and equal lows to get swept before you take your trade, right? So you're not getting stopped out and manipulated out of these moves, but it's also so important to have open so you can actually target this. And to get the best usage really out of this indicator, I want you to not only be paying attention to the 1-minute time frame, but also the higher time frame, so the 15-minute time frame and above, to actually find your buys. Because perfect equal highs are a really strong draw on liquidity, especially on the higher time frame. So once you see this, we have equal highs perfectly right here. We are coming into New York AM session, and this was a trade that I actually took targeting these equal highs, and I was actually super bullish on this day because of these equal highs. Again, this is a magnet in price. Price action always draws towards these highs, especially when we hit a higher time frame key level lower and the price action and the overall trend and narrative is bullish. For example here, right? So this is actually a trade I took that helped me get to that $51,000 in the month of August. We bounced off of this 15-minute bullish fair value gap, and then from here we ended up getting an inversion fair value gap right here. So an inversion fair value gap is simply when the fair value gap gets disrespected, meaning there's a body that closes above it, and then I entered into my long position here because we were respecting this bullish gap and then we were disrespecting this bearish gap. Okay, so this is a clear sign that the market wants to go higher. And then what do we have? We have a very obvious draw on liquidity and target being these equal highs. Now I'm going to then also check with this indicator if there's any equal lows at my stop loss, and there's not, right? Based on this indicator, I'm all good. So I'm good with my entry. This is a perfect textbook setup, and price action on this day ends up ripping towards all of my targets, and it just ended up being a beautiful long on this day. All right, now I'm going to show you the second and only indicator that I use. This one is honestly more important than the last one. This one helps me find my bias so easily, and this one just really helps me with getting those precision entries and precision targets. Okay, so head over to the indicators tab once again, and you're going to search up ICT kill zones plus pivots. Okay, so this is by Trade for Op, TFO, absolute GOAT, and you're gonna click on it right there, and it's going to pop up on your screen. Okay, and what this indicator actually does is it marks out every single session. So we have Asia session, London session, New York AM session, lunch hour, PM, literally every session for you. And this is really important because session highs and lows are super strong draws on liquidity and magnets in price. And this is also really important so you can see what the overnight session has done when you wake up in the morning, so you can actually determine your bias whether you want to be bullish or bearish on the day. All right, so I want you guys to now copy the exact indicator settings I have on my screen right here. So we have Asia session. This is from 8 p.m. to then midnight. We then have London session from 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. We have New York AM session from 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. This is all Eastern Standard Time. Okay, so then lunch hour is then from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. And then we have New York PM from 1 p.m. And then I personally put 16, which is just 4 p.m. Market does close at 5 p.m. So there's sometimes moves that happen after 4 p.m., but I really wouldn't even mark that out. And then you guys should also check this button where it says true day open. This is going to mark out that true day, that midnight opening price. And this is going to be a really, really strong and obvious rejection level a lot of the times, as long as it's aligned with your bias and draw on liquidity. As you can see here, we hit true day open, and this is where you're going to see a lot of people bottom ticking and top ticking trades and getting those precision entries. It's with true day open, and it's from this indicator right here. So like I was saying, one of the ways I use this indicator is determining my overall bias on the day, and I can do that by looking at what the overnight session did. So when I was coming into this morning, I was looking at overnight session. So I was looking at Asia and London session and whether or not we ended up manipulating into a key level. So we actually did. Asia session ended up trading down into this 4-hour bullish fair value gap right here. So as you can see, we have a 4-hour bullish fair value gap, and this was where Asia session ended up manipulating into, and then London session ended up delivering from there. So this is your Asia manipulation, London continuation and reversal, and then you can expect New York AM session to have a bullish day. So I'll show you. I mean, I did actually end up taking a trade today, and it was a 30-second long, and it was based off of price trading back into this Asia session range. So we have the low of London session here, or sorry, trading back into this London session range. We have the low of London session, and then we have the high of this overall move. And as you can see, price action ends up trading lower. So at this point, I'm just going to do a simple little trade recap based on this, but we have a hourly bullish fair value gap. Okay, so this is based on, you know, still this indicator, right? I'm still using this for my bias, but price ends up trading lower and hits what? This discounted PD array that we created during London session. Okay, from this indicator, right? We had this PD array get created during London session. So I'm using this PD array, right? And I want to see price hit this before taking my long. So price action, I'm waiting, and I'm still waiting, still chopping around, and boom, this is when I enter into my longs, and I took a small 1-to-1 trade into a unfilled gap. Okay, so this is a 30-second inversion for value gap. As you can see, we perfectly tapped that area right there, and then you can see here we have this unfilled 5-minute for value gap, and I ended up taking a long on this day to this unfilled 5-minute for value gap. And I'll actually show you the screenshot of the trade. So yeah, here was the executions on the day. But yeah, this was just clip from my trade recap that I was doing today with the Discord. But anyways, I got to this bias and I got to this entry, and I'm able to make this kind of money from trading from these two indicators. So not only do I use this indicator to actually determine my bias every day, but I also use this when I'm looking at my exits and when I'm taking profits. Okay, so for example here, remember what I was talking about before when I was determining my bias, right? If London session ended up trading into a key level, or Asia session did, and then we got distribution from there, and it should be that New York continuation, right? Well, there's a time like this where London session didn't hit any key level, right? We didn't sweep out any liquidity here, right? And this London low here is what I like to call not sponsored. Okay, so I can actually use this now to my advantage coming into New York session. I can actually use this to my advantage because this will not be a continuation day. Instead, I can use this as a draw on liquidity and take shorts targeting this London session low right here. Okay, so this is going to be a great target. And coming into New York AM session, I remember I did also take a trade on this day targeting this low, and as you can see, New York AM session opens up and we ended up going all the way down there towards that London low, hitting this low, and then overall the trend and bias on this day was bearish, and we did continue dumping lower. All right, so these are also my settings for the equal highs and lows indicator. I have the line width at 1. This is solid, and then I have inputs and stat lines, look back length 200. I think it's pretty valid, and then this is like my visibility. Really, this is honestly personal preference, but this is what makes sense to me, and this is what looks best on my chart. And I visualize the equal highs and lows best, honestly, with these settings. All right, guys. Well, I'm not going to hold you here any longer. I'm going to wrap up this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. These are the only 2 indicators that I use and the only 2 indicators that you really need if you are an ICT trader. So go check them out. Equal highs and lows by Jay Zster, ICT kill zones and pivots by TFO. Shout out to those boys for making those indicators because they're so freaking useful. Helps me make so much money in the stock market. And really, guys, this is the only indicators that you guys need. You do not need anything more and you do not need anything less. Please get these indicators. And these indicators have saved me from so many losses and it's also made me so much money. I know a lot of you guys were probably really interested in this play that I took right here. And don't worry, I'm going to be posting soon all of my trade recaps on YouTube. So get ready for that. And I'm also going to be posting my model. This is my mech model. So it's a little sneak peek at that. But again, I'm going to soon be making a video on that. So be on the lookout. Hit subscribe. Like this video if you liked it. Thank you guys. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.